Audi is about to reveal the new Audi RS6 Avant, and this is good news and maybe not so good news in one package. We're going to have a look at this design. We have a couple of renderings, also brand new spy photos of this vehicle, and thankfully it is coming to the States, and this is great. We now have, I think, two performance wagons. The M5 Touring is here in the United States now, and then we have the RS6. I want to have the RS4 here as well because I think the package of the RS4 is more in line with what I want to have in a performance wagon. The sizing is a little bit more nimble than the RS6, but I think this is going to be a very, very cool design. So we're going to have a look at this article from Car Scoops and then jump into Photoshop and check out the renderings. Beautiful renderings, and also compare it to the spy photos and the current RS6. Starting with this article from Car Scoops, I'm going to link it down below as always, of course. The Audi's new super estate is coming in hot. The next generation RS6 Avant is expected to trade the current model's twin-turbo V8 for a hybridized V6. This can be either good or bad. It's probably going to weigh maybe a little less, but since it's a hybrid, the weight is still going to be up there. I much rather have the old V8 in this, for the, if anything else, just for the noise of the V8. You can't make a V6 sound like a V8. However, it's going to pump out about 725 horsepower, replacing the twin-turbo V8. You also have an all-electric version of the new age RS6 will also be offered, potentially outperforming the ICE. Who cares if it outperforms the internal combustion engine version? I 100% is going to go for that one anyway. It doesn't matter if the EV does 0 to 60 in 1 second. I honestly don't care. You want to have this in it with the proper engine in it and the bazooka tailpipes back here in the back, obviously. So you have a revised rear end with oval-shaped tailpipes. Now sitting a little closer to the center. I think it looks pretty cool, to be honest, to have them not all the way out here. Even that maybe this looks more like Porsche style. Looks very, very good. So this was set to be named the RS7 Avant. It will now still be called the RS6 because the internal combustion engine powered Audis were set to use odd numbers in their names, while the EVs would use even numbers. As such, the RS6 we all know and love was going to morph into the RS7, and that would not make sense to me at all because the RS7 has always been this beautiful, almost fastback design. It's not supposed to be a wagon, the RS7, so I'm glad that they stuck with the RS6 name, and the electric version is probably going to be called the RS6 e-tron. It sounds pretty obvious to me. So you got larger intakes in the front. You can see those right here. Still similar styling to what we have in the current RS6 with this triangular with the angle upwards in this area. Big intake in the middle, and of course the grille is going to be a little bit more organic, more rounded shape now, but thankfully it looks like we still have the headlights in the proper position. And please, Audi, keep these 5-spoke RS wheels. These are some of the best looking wheels in the business, and don't make them black. Just keep them exactly like we have it here in this prototype. You also notice a pair of vents on the front quarter panel, roof rails, and a set of sizable 5-spoke wheels. As I said, don't switch them out. They are great looking wheels. The best wheels Audi's ever done are the Ovis wheels. I wish you could have them on the regular RS6. You could probably buy them aftermarket. Looking great. So the rear end is shaped up to be the car's best angle. I agree with that. Not sure what I'm going to think of this front end. We're going to have to wait and see. It's going to be a lot more rounded, as I said. A lot more organic shapes here, which is not bad at all. But Audi, to me, has always been a bit of a chiseled looking design. And this looks like, usually what happens to new Audis is the grille, these intakes that they have on the side, they stick up too far and squishes the eyeball. I've talked about that before when we talked about the Q5, for example. You got the familiar oval-shaped tailpipes of the previous generation car, but they have been repositioned to sit more centrally on the bumper. And of course, this is going to have the same styling in the rear as the updated A6, meaning that we have a full light bar in the rear end. Nothing wrong with that at all. The new car will ditch the 4-liter twin-turbo V8 of the current model in favor of a plug-in hybrid V6. I'm not opposed to that, honestly. As I said, the only thing that I'm going to miss is going to be the noise. Putting an exhaust on this with a V6, it's not going to make the same rumble as the big V8. And then you have the M5, which still has the V8 in it, the plug-in hybrid V8. It loses 2 cylinders, but it gains an electric motor, as you can read right here. 725 horsepower should be more than enough. Here you have some photos of it. You can see the rear end here looking pretty cool. I mean, these are classic Audi proportions. Just by looking, even if it's fully camouflaged, you still recognize this as an Audi because it has these bubbly proportions, but not bubbly in a bad way, bubbly in a good way. And you can see the side view here with the wheels. These are the wheels I want to see on the production version as well. Beautiful looking wheels, and thankfully they are silver, so please don't replace them with black wheels. You can see the diffuser looking very aggressive, and I think I'm gonna like this diffuser more than what we have on the current generation RS6. So let's jump into Photoshop here and have a look at the prototype first of all, and then the rendering and the current generation RS6 Avant. I mean, look at this beast. What a beautiful machine this is. This being the RS6 Performance right here in full black. The wheel design looks great as well, and what I love when this is blacked out is that this diffuser in the lower section is not silver like we have on some other RS Avant versions. When this being light gray or silver, it kind of sticks out too much. Having to be blacked out like this with the full body being black, just looking beautiful. Now looking at the spy photos here, what can we see? How can we compare this to the rendering from Kolesa.ru, one of my favorite artist out there when it comes to rendering cars like this. He does beautiful designs. Now looking at the front end, we do have the headlight unit sitting up here. You can see clearly the outline. It's going to look very, very much like, if not identical to the current A6 Avant that we already saw being unveiled. You can see the grille is probably going to have a very similar shape to that as well. You can see the outline going right here. This is going to be the full size of the grille. We have an opening down here at the bottom, probably some openings up here at the top as well, and we still have these. So you can see that it looks like we have a line going in connecting to the corner of the grille right here, and similar style for the triangular intakes on the side here. And I want to see a lip spoiler in the lower section to properly create this feeling that the front end is hugging the road when you have the front lip in this vehicle. The proportions look great. The rear end looks even better than the front end. I definitely think I'm going to prefer the rear end design. You can see the light bar here, and we also have a separation. I think we're going to have a separation of the taillight up here, and then we have these trim pieces in the lower section that then connects into the light bar. And you can see the diffuser comparing this to the current generation RS6. This to me looks way, way cleaner. We have the bazooka tailpipes now sitting a lot closer to each other than it does right here. And you can see this diffuser is still a good looking diffuser to me, but it looks maybe a little too industrial maybe with this big chamfer that just sticks up in the back end like this. But the taillight unit still looks beautiful, and this could be in production for another 5 years and still be a properly modern looking design. The only thing though that's going to be changed here that I'm probably not gonna like is going to be the interior, because I do believe we're gonna get the dual screen setup like we have in pretty much every single new Audi these days, and the old interior is 100 times better than what we're gonna get for this one. However, hopefully, as I said, they're going to keep these wheel designs that we have here, because these are some of my favorite wheels next to the Avis. Yeah, I think they're called Avis wheels from Audi, which looks very similar to what we have here as well. Now, looking at the renderings, I think this is pretty close to what we're going to get for the production version. I don't think the intake in the corner is going to look this good like we have in the rendering. I actually prefer the styling that we have of the rendering here, because this now has a horizontal angle for the lower section, instead of having this angle go up like this and creating this triangular shape, something like this, like we have in the production version. You can see it clearly here, just the opening of this, how it's 3-pointed instead of 4 corners like we have in this case. I think this rendering looks beautiful, and this, if Audi's RS6 were to look like this in the front end, I would have no problems whatsoever with this. But I do think it's going to look a little bit more complex, specifically in this area when it comes to the production version. Looking at the rear end though, looking at the diffuser here, I don't think the diffuser is going to look like this, because the reason being, here you can see the outline of the diffuser going upwards and down, and then have the same, of course, styling on the other side. And we also have this angle down here. And I don't think these angles are intact on the production version, because you can see here the outline of the diffuser goes pretty traditional layout, and I love to see that. I also love to see that we still have this waterfall design coming from the taillights and then creating this properly designed bumper that creates a clear separation again from the top half graphics up top and the diffuser graphics and the exhaust pipes at the bottom. Beautifully done, similar to what we have in the rendering here. You can see the waterfall design, typical German design that they've been doing since the mid-90s, I do believe, just to have a bumper integrated like this, looking beautiful. You can see the light bar here in the middle as well, looking nice, and the proportions are spot on, looking at it from a rear view, three-quarter rear view like this. So this vehicle is going to be a very, very interesting launch. I can't wait to see how this is going to differentiate itself from the regular A6 Avant. Now, comparing the rendering to the current version, I honestly don't know which one I prefer. I think the current RS6, when you see it from a straight front view at a red light at the opposite direction coming towards you, it just looks so menacing. It looks so beefy and aggressive, and this is what I'm talking about, the chiseledness that I believe Audi should continue to have. You see this grille, for example, it doesn't have a lot of rounded corners to it, which I think we're gonna get in the next generation. I want to see it still be very tight and chiseled, just like we have on the current generation RS6 Avant, looking beautiful. I also love this intake right here. Still have the triangular shape, which creates a bit of a unique styling for this, similar styling to what we have, of course, in the RS7 as well. So overall, it's going to be a very cool car. I'm very excited that this is actually coming to the United States. And if I could make a wish to BMW and Audi, it was to bring the M3 Touring over here, as well as the RS4 Avant Touring, and make them into manuals. That would sell like crazy. Even though I do think you don't think they're gonna sell, but if you give it a shot and bring them over here and put a manual in them, you're gonna see the people are actually going to enjoy it and appreciate the effort it takes nowadays to put a manual in a modern car.